Rage quit? Never. Dad quit? Not an option. Welcome to Nerd Rage.
How's it going, YouTube? Just kind of want to do a video on my thoughts on the Portal after a huge grind. Currently 449, stuck there for another 2 weeks for random RNG. And I wanted to let everybody know my thoughts on it. And how I think Bungie did in this entire thing. Originally, I thought Bungie laid a good foundation, and that their head was in the right space, and that this was just something that they got rushed, that they needed to get out the door because of timelines, and so they were going to be working on stuff, and they were going to get it together, and they were going to put stuff on and make it better for the player and really put energy and effort into the game. That's what I originally thought as I was going through all of the different grinds that we've had ever since the game came out. After getting to 449, I think the Portal is a half-baked piece of crap. It's a piece of shit. It is a piece of shit. I can go in here. What on earth? Oh, this is the pre-selected whatever. I can go in here and I can make selections to do things. Some of these things that you see in here. Let's go to customize. This is a special thing that they decided to do, which I'm going to be honest. Like the Suros event, nobody's going to bat an eye. Somebody might make a build, maybe. But it's really not, it's not groundbreaking. It's not there long enough for us to really take advantage of it, for us to really enjoy it. Half the time people don't even really know it exists because either they're not playing enough, or they get into the weekend and it's just like, I'm just going to do whatever, and they don't even notice it. These need to be longer. It's impactful for sure. If you take advantage of it, I would say that the Solstice ones are the best ones that you've done yet. The Suros one, similar to Suros, I think is the worst one, honestly. A good thought, but not long enough, and kind of counterintuitive with what you were doing with your quote-unquote new gear system. It didn't make sense. You had Suros weapons that weren't in your new gear system, and so therefore didn't get all of the bonuses, so why on earth would you use them if people are min-maxing things? But let's get to other things. Some of these, again, I like the rotation. This is the least amount of effort that I would say that you need to put into. These are fine in the rotation. I like some of them I'll never use. But, you know, whatever. I definitely, like I said earlier, I loved the Solstice ones. Those were the most impactful. Those were the most beneficial. I thought they honestly were too powerful. And I can pull up videos as of why. When I look up over here, if you kind of see, I've got the two Solstice ones that were ridiculously powerful, plus the Solstice bonus, plus the extra damage there. And I was able to stack those, plus stack the red ones, and I'm doing as solo content, and I'm 449, killing things that are 430. It was super easy, super enjoyable, but unfortunately you then have what the effect is now. Now everything sucks. Because now I'm not 20 levels higher than everything else. and having all those bonuses. Now, when I go and I do things and I stack stuff up like I normally would, and I get these various different things so that I'm, getting my B plus to, to eventually get to an A, I'm still, 9, 10 levels above everything. So it's still fairly easy, but it still just doesn't feel good. It's, I don't understand it. For feedback purposes, get more creative. Get rid of avant-garde. Like the whole system that you have for the new gear, I understand wanting to have it so that, as people are getting the new gear, you're pushing towards the new stuff. I get wanting to push people towards there. However, there's a big difference between good development and bad development. Bad development, you're actively pushing and moving your core audience to do something. Regardless of whether they want to or don't want to, you are purposely making them do something. Good development, you give people a reason why they want to do something. This isn't a reason. What you've currently got with the new gear bonuses, that's not a reason. That's you pushing them. It's horrible. Because that's not even half of it. That's what we thought originally. But then as we start going and we grind and we go through and we do activities in the portal, we realize this score has your equipped new gear as a modifier, multiplying your score. Why? Again, you're pushing people to go do that. Why don't you make it so that people have the ability to choose? Hey, I understand changing the artifact. This was a way to change the meta. Totally understand wanting to change the meta so things don't get stale. We could have an argument of how the only anti-barrier weapon that you've got on this thing is scout and pulse rifle. And the fact that makes it so that your builds, like, it's horrible with trying to make builds. But that's a completely different argument. You've doubled down and made things even worse, making it so that, like, people don't have options. At least with the prior system, with the artifact and how things went, you could choose a varying selection of between exotics, weapons, and armor, and different activities to go find different pieces of exotics or armor pieces or weapons to get their build put together. And right now there isn't that. Like there's no reason to go. There's nothing really new, first of all. But there's no reason. Like I would love to be rewarded, because I still didn't get that the last time. I would love to get Finality's Augur. Partially because it's on your quote unquote, new gear list. So I would get that bonus of 10% damage, which people can scoff at, but it makes a difference. Makes a big difference when you're at the end game, when you're trying to push out everything, or when you're trying to do competitive stuff. It makes a difference. And so it just doesn't make sense why you would push somebody. Again, going back to the good, give somebody a reason to go get that new gear. This does not feel like a reason. It doesn't. I would say for the new sets, the reason would be I want to go grind a certain activity because I want 4 pieces of the new set. There's a good reason. Because what it does is cool. I like the utility of it. It changes my gameplay. It makes it so that it's more fun. Don't just use big number, bigger damage. So, of course, they're going to do it. We'll just make that the better one. Then you get into the same issue that you currently have, which is power creep. Get creative. Give, like, some of this stuff, it is more creative than prior, but make this the reason, not the other stuff, not the 10% damage or the 15% damage resistance, or the fact that if I go do an event and if I try and go through and I want to make it a B plus with my current things, I have to use new gear. I don't even know if I have any other gear. I don't think I do. I'd have to grab. I have this. Yeah, I have the Galahorn because I was going through and doing that. What is this? 1 million? So if I go through and I take this, oh, I can't put it on. We'll just do this and for science. Now I'm under 1 million. Just one piece of gear. Like the one piece of gear is enough. If I go in here, it's basically double modifier. Ugh, some in my eye. A double modifier. That's the effect of one piece of gear. You know how limiting that is? Or you probably do. And the guy who probably came up with that is a dick. But come on. The incentive should be because it's cool, because it gives me something new, because I've never seen that before and that looks fun. That's what it should be. That's what you should be developing. That's how you get yourself out of the, oh, bigger number is better, and uh-oh, now we have this whole power creep issue. How do we deal with that again? Come on, I understand some nerfs have to happen with some different things. But really, get creative, guys. The portal event, which is the main topic of this particular video, is half-baked. You took away 80 to 90% of the activities that were already in your game. And you made them absolutely worthless. There is no reason for anybody to do anything outside of the portal. There's not. Like, it was, to me, the experience of going from 0 to 200 was a good experience in the fact that it didn't matter what I did, I got an upgrade. That was fun. After 200, none of those other activities out in the world mattered, which is stupid because getting from 0 or 10 to 200 doesn't take any effort at all. Why would you not make it at the very minimum, if you know that you're not going to have those activities? Why would you not make that all the way up into 400? And then have 400 to 450 in this particular way, the grind. That's when you start having, okay, we're going to narrow down the amount of activities, because people would have been doing all sorts of other things because the gear would have dropped and it would have been leveling them up. But that would have been too fast, maybe, my guess. And you don't have an end game right now. In fact, I don't even see in your Ash and Iron update an end game. I see the grind. And that is what you consider your end game, which is not an end game. One of two things will end up happening out of that. People will get tired of your grind, regardless of whether you buff, nerf, whatever, because it's shallow. You've got nothing there. You've not even put any effort into getting the activities that you've already created into that grind. And then you have nothing when it's done. People aren't rewarded for anything. There's no new cool activity for them to do. And that's part of the problem that you guys have, is you can't come up with new activities for them to do in the end game. The seasons that we had were drip fed, had some new content in there, and I enjoyed those. But the problem is you drip fed them because you didn't want them to go through the content too quickly, because we're gamers. Because you haven't smartened up to give them something to do with the grinding. As bad as Diablo is, they at least decided to come up with an activity that people could do endlessly to give them a grind. You've not done anything like that. You've come up with various activities, but they're a one and done. They're a little thing. There's no continual grind effort. It's too easy. I said it in my last video. Make an endless dungeon. Vex network. Randomly generated area, randomly generated number of enemies, type of enemies, combination of enemies, abilities, you name it. And the higher you go, the more rewarding it is. It's an activity that doesn't end, and people will grind the crap out of it, especially if the rewards are there. And I'm not talking about the best DPS weapons in the game. I mean, if it's there halfway through, cool. People will grind for that. I'm talking about other things. I'm talking about grinding for things that you can't get, that are titles or cosmetics, heaven forbid. Like, you've got a whole team that makes some really cool different cosmetics for the game. Start using some of those things, because I don't want this game to die. However, the future doesn't look bright for you. You have Destiny Rising in your own backyard who are going to cannibalize players from you. Whether you had some say in that or not, it's happening. Bungie, please do something. I mean, shit, do the same thing that Blizzard does. They have people that are literally taking Classic and making their own versions of it. What did they turn around and do? They decided, hey, you know what? Let's make our own version. We're going to cannibalize their ideas. And we're going to take those and we're going to put those in our game. And people played them. They got subscriptions. And nobody cared that they grabbed from somebody else. So do the same thing. Take the great things that are happening in Destiny Rising that people are excited about. They got 10 million people that have pre-subbed to play the game and probably buy something. I'm sure your Sony would love that. Take some of the stuff that people love there. Take some of the interfaces that they have to make the game better, smoother, more new player friendly. Take those. Look at some other games and get a little more creative. It's a plea that I have with you, Bungie. Please, let's do better. Till next time.